You say you've been, swimming with sharks. What it means?
I like it actually. What just came.
Was it a playful statement or what?
The statement was playful, but it wasn't.
I know it's not literal.
But it was not. But it was not pointing to to something very playful. You remember yesterday, I realized that I came with a bag of resistance and identification to it, and this morning I woke up quite. Few sharks. I say sharks like thoughts. Sharks because they thought of attack. So a few thoughts. I went into the questioning. I remember Ramana's teaching saying you get two eyes inside of you. So ask which one is the eye that thinks this. Is that your true heart? So that already kind of helped me to say to a little separate. Because the whole idea yesterday, you told me, is really about identification. And I just saw today, what I think I'm interested in is two things. First of all, getting a little clearer on identification, on the whole thing about beliefs, which is not a big thing, but it seems to be a very big deal inside of me. The beliefs, maybe belief create identification. And on the other hand, just go back to me, just to myself, to the true self. So it's like two things, like two inquiries, like in front with the beliefs and what I'm getting identified with and how I'm getting caught in the knots, and besides me, like she's not really beside, but here, self. I am, at least I am, and then we'll see if the awareness of I am, gets me somewhere else. But it goes fast in the mind, and as I told you yesterday, I give a lot of allegiance. I believe that I told you yesterday. I believe that the mind will save me. This was yesterday. The understanding will get me,
Yes.
And if I can just like tell you, it's all about beliefs. This seems to be a belief that it's a knot. I believe that I need to fix things, or at least to fix my beliefs, before being able to go back to myself. I think that with this belief, I can wait a long time before going back to myself, because there will always be problems. And I was a little bummed to think about, that's okay, thinking about yesterday, because all I told you about is just like problems, beliefs in problems. And when I see on YouTube people bringing you this, I'm like, I'm a little detached from that, and I'm like, come on, just see yourself, this is no problem. But when I'm with sharks, there's only problems. So I'm a little bit in between. I'm sorry, I'm trying to give you everything at the same time.
No, I'm listening.
And so there's this. And so I looked at the belief, and I'm saying I understand that the problem is identification. And when I was wondering what was the mechanism of identification, maybe it's the belief.
We can, let us go something even more intimate. Who is the believer?
That's where I went today.
There cannot be belief without a believer, no?
Yes.
Who is the believer? Just slow down with these questions for me, so that they really come with some credential, some power.
Yes. Who's the believer? What comes in my mind to help me, tell me if it's on the same, is who's the I that believes?
Yes.
Is that
yes.
It's the same thing? Okay. Because intellectually or not, I understand that it's not self, that it's not who I really am, who believes.
Yes, yeah.
I understand it's ego, mind, or another me that is identified. That I understand. But I don't think that this understanding is deep enough.
But who is speaking these words now?
Now.
Who can comment about this believer, whether this believer is a construct of the mind or some kind of memory or intention? Who is?
If I answer, the first answer that came was fear. There was no intellectual. There was something came. Fear. Fear says this.
And could we look a little bit at what the fear is? What is the fear of or about?
Okay, that's good. Okay. I said this because it was not intellectual, so I'm happy about this already. It's an energy. It's an energy that seems to shoot thoughts, like a vibration.
That's what you're afraid of, or that's who you think you are.
What I saw today was that I believe that my beliefs define me. So
again, I'm going to ask you, who is speaking?
Who is speaking?
I believe that my beliefs define me. Who is speaking?
Believe.
Yes.
That my beliefs define me.
Yes.
I believe. Me, but not a quiet me. I know it's not self, but I've been using. Who's this I?
Very good. I like that you're doing this somehow.
Who's this I? What comes is mind, or at least not me. This I is not who I am. Tell me it's not intellectual what I'm saying.
Yes, I am not feeling this feeling. I'm not. I'm simply listening. If there's something that I don't like, I'll come in and
so
tell you.
For the moment, it's fine.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm afraid. Who's I?
Well, it's not a question of getting the answer right in the head. It's getting the answer right in the heart. It has to be that somehow you're seeing, and out of your own seeing of following through, because this is what you're doing, and I'm liking that you're doing this. That you are following through. You're not just giving me clever answers. You're following through, and trying to see if you can catch hold of who, out of whom is these words emanating. I mean, whose
right.
words and who's commenting about these things.
Is it a geographical search?
Well, you can. It really is a search. I mean, who identify who the speaker is.
I know it's not my true self.
Yes.
But that it's a me. It's like
It's not your true self because
when I've experienced my true self, there's all the problems vanish. I don't feel this energy at all. I don't feel that there's a problem at all when I'm sitting here as my true self. So I go back and forth.
So therefore, this back and forthness, agitation, fears, and so on, this is a sort of a movement occurring inside the space of yourself somewhere.
Yes.
With some identity around it. Otherwise, it would just be ignored.
Yeah. Now, is identity belief? Is it the same thing?
It is belief. It is belief. It is a kind of construction. If it feels like the identity is a feeling, I am this body. I am my conditioning. I am my background.
I'm these answers. I'm this questioning.
Yes, I am what I learned. It's my education. What I believe.
That doesn't register in me. Always since I started like deeper, it never registers. I am this belief. I am these feelings. I am this body. It doesn't register. So at some point,
meaning that it doesn't really catch.
No,
it doesn't catch.
No,
They're just kind of like words
like
that they cannot be true. For instance,
I am this. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yes. Try now. Just you know the feeling of just the sense I am, the feeling, the sense, the state, just I am, without any other descriptions, no adjectives, no.
I don't know if I know it.
No, because every time you say, I am afraid, I am thinking,
Yes.
it starts with the I am. It's the root is basically the I am.
Okay.
Then you join thinking
I.
with the I am, says I am thinking.
Right.
Then you join memory as I am remembering.
Wonderful.
But just the I am by itself without the activity associated with it.
Yes. Like I'm unsure. Like I'm unsure now.
Yes.
I
am is not a verb. It's not on the way. It doesn't have to hold on to something else. If it doesn't attach itself to any other thing, activity, I am thinking, I am meditating, or a noun, I am a man, or anything else. Just that sense, I am. Can it be like that?
Yeah, seems empty, but yeah. I.
Yes.
Yeah, I.
Is it waiting for an attachment, or is it just...
No, it's waiting for a shark to come.
Well, if a shark comes, a shark can come, but it doesn't have to become anything other than I, or I am. It's a registration of your own sense of being, of your existence. I, existence, am.
I am.
Just keep it isolated from anything else. It is by itself, it is like that. Something else wants to join it to some activity out of habit, but it's not.
Like I hear the noise is already something else than I am, right?
Yes, the sense I am, it really is that sound or listening is occurring in the I am.
Oh.
The perceiving of some siren is occurring in the I am. Now it's subsided, but the I am is not moved. It's just like a sort of space. If you don't identify the I am with being a person, it's just a sense, an intuition, a feeling of presence and being. It is not the doer. Thoughts may appear, actions may appear, but they do nothing to the I am. The I am merely perceives.
Perceives.
Yes. Or perception occurs in also the I am.
I like that state because there's an emptiness that I like.
Yes.
It's like the little sharks that come that say, you're not going to stay there. You're not going to lose this.
How are you staying there now?
What?
How are you staying there now? If for the voice to say you're not going to stay there, who is the voice speaking to? That
Who's
which
the
is
voice
just
speaking to.
Yeah. Is it speaking to that which is just there? What is there didn't arrive there. It's simply here.
What is there didn't arrive there.
Yeah.
What is there?
Here. That which is announcing itself as the presence. Just a sense of presence. It is not an actor.
This I, which is not yet associated with the outside.
Yes,
right?
yes, unassociated. Yes. It's not. Is it doing anything to just be what it is? Does it have to maintain?
You mean I? Yes. I.
Yes, yes.
I
That
am.
pure feeling I am, unassociated with body or time, relationship, memory, anything.
Unassociated with any of this.
Yes, yes.
I. It feels I need to defend it.
Who will defend it?
Defend against like the temptation. Who will defend it? You mean it's already not I, right? It's already an association there. I mean,
yes, a voice comes, a thought comes. I must protect it, and right springing up with that thought is an identity, an apparent identity that is saying I must protect this feeling I or I am.
So I must protect it.
Yeah, it's just a thought.
Is not the same I than here.
No. There's just a thought arising in the space of the natural realm of I-ness, of I am. I am is not a person. it introduced itself to you as emptiness. It's not a person.
Yeah, like when I look at it, there's nothing there and I like it.
Yes.
But then who's the I?
Yeah.
Isn't that the same I that looks at I am is the same one that needs to defend?
No, it's different, because the sense of defending, just stay only as the pure sense I am. Don't go for anything like I must defend it, I am looking. Don't try and qualify or or you may interpret or anything like that. Don't try and study I am. Just be.
Okay.
Presence is.
Okay.
Get away from all of that. There's nothing.
For I am doesn't study.
Just be. It simply is being. It's not becoming something.
Being.
It doesn't have a job.
I like the idea of unassociated with the rest, the
Yes.
I alone.
Yes.
Before I think, I know, I feel.
Yeah. And this I has no identity, it has no image, no self-image.
No. Can I comment?
Yes, yeah, you can do this.
There's a little worry about where. It's like, okay, here it's okay, there's nothing. It's like, but I feel I'm moving.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a sensation of movement in that.
Yeah, it's like it's not
Yeah.
solid.
Just say that the movement is felt, but don't make any conclusion about what you are perceiving.
The movement is felt.
Yes, in the space of the I am itself. The I am is not moved. You see, it doesn't have a. If it has no form, how can we judge its movement? It's no movement. It's everywhere.
Right. Movement. So the belief that I am is in the back of me is wrong.
You are aware naturally and spontaneously that you are. It doesn't have to be a belief. It's a confirmation.
Right. I am.
Even before you say I am, the intuition I am is there. That intuition, the sense of being, of existence is there. And then the words come to say I am.
It's kind of quick the way the words come, right?
That's okay. But it is subtler than the words, earlier than even the words to say I am. Is only referring to what already is. And that which already is not necessarily saying I am. It's just there, it's just here.
And could we look at that which already is as the birthplace of the saying I am?
Well, you can confirm, because the saying I am has been said, and still, and then also it subsides. The saying I am is pointing only to what is, beyond even the saying I am. It doesn't need to say I am. It's just there. The I am is said in the mind. I am.
Yes.
Yes. You're only looking, not creating, just looking.
Just looking.
Mm.
Just looking. I want to say something.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting because I've believed through experience up till now that the saying in the mind, the saying it, was my savior.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, I believe this, I see this, and then I am, but that gives me, I guess, the sense of unsecurity in space. You know,
Of moving about or journeying towards something, and sort of in some way finding your tracks to go through something.
Yes.
It's a movement, and it's
Yes.
a conceptual movement,
Yes.
and it's also a felt movement, but it is more rooted in the mind, and it is conceptual. It has a lot of conceptual support, that feeling.
What feeling? The feeling that
The feeling that
to speak?
I know, well, even that you need to speak or need to say something to qualify your position and so on. All of this is mental. All of this is just
So all of this is not I am.
is not what is.
Is not what is.
Yeah.
What
It is a thought about how you should be to be what is. It's like a thought that assumes that what is like a destination, and something must be constructed or moved out of the way to get nearer to that destination and to
Yes.
finally arrive. So all of these are thoughts. They are not truths.
So belief is thought. It's the same thing, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
They're thoughts.
Even the believer could really be admitted to be also thought,
Yes.
because you rightly say, through your own insight, that it cannot be, the pure self cannot be the believer. What does it need to believe?
No, exactly.
Something is behaving through belief, like I need to get somewhere, I need to go back to where I came from. These are beliefs.
Yeah.
You are what you are, you see. But if you're not certain about that, because more you've been accustomed to working with the mind, believing in the mind, which keeps you feeling separated and split, and therefore having to make a journey to get back to unity, which is what yoga really means in a way. And seeing now that all of this is a conceptual journey, it's not really true, it's just happening in the mind. And apart from the mind, what is there is not making any effort, any striving. It's incapable of striving, because it has no sense of being split or divided or having any journey or time or a relationship to create. All of this is just the characteristics and tendencies in the mind itself. But the beingness, the sense I am, that feeling, it is the root of all this field and tree of perception. And so somehow it is the one that is feeling, it is the ultimate enjoyer or sufferer in some way, because from it has proceeded all these ideas, you see.
From it.
Yes, the power to give attention or belief, to identify with something.
The believer is not the believer, but the believer comes from it.
Well, actually, this is subtle. Let's stay with this for a moment and look.
Okay.
The believer is actually conceptual, but it's actually sort of supported by the energy that arises from the I am. Because if the believer is a thought cannot generate its own energy. It has to be supplied energy by that which is capable of believing in it. And the belief arising from the beingness or from the I am has to be attributed in part to the I am. The I am is believing in some way. And at the same time, it is able to be observing this belief at the same time. Such is the greatness of that power and presence. It's almost like a portion of itself is participating in the belief with the mind and arising as a believer, and yet the same power is able to stay detached from that and observe this artificial believer, which is only an aspect of itself, mixing with the mind, which is also an aspect of itself. Yet in its pure state, unassociated state, even unassociated with the concept of believing, it is able to observe the sense of a believer and the belief. Now, as soon as it recognizes that it is pure and unattached even to the projection of a believer, you see, then it retains its power. And this believer cannot live any more than a plant can continue living without water. This believer concept, which is a mixture of thought and the energy of the self, that cannot grow, it cannot expand, it cannot continue. It's starved of oxygen, you see.
Kind of
Because
echo.
it is supported by interest. It is supported by belief. If the belief and the interest and identification is not supplied to that thought, it will wither and pass away. The I am, you see, is capable of issuing a sort of the force of belief or attention, and at the same time to be detached as the observer of that projection at the same time.
He can do both.
Yes.
And is he the one who gets caught up in his own projection?
Yes.
And who forgets about his own self?
Yes. Exactly like that. But somewhere within himself is a seed that won't go away, a seed of memory, a seed that will not allow. It's like an impulse that is always a magnetic impulse that is always pulling the extended universe and the one who is perceiving and living it, pulling it back into the emptiness, into the silence of the being,
so
of the unassociated I am first.
Three things: unassociated I am,
Yes,
projection of a believer, and universe.
and yes. This is the extension.
Right.
This is the extension, that out of the I am is coming the extended believer, who has an identity, is functioning as a personality, an independent believer with its own belief system, its own mythology, its own ideals, its own dreams and aspirations and whatever. And further on, this projected believer itself projecting further thoughts about what it wants to do and about the world and its world and so on, you see?
With the power of I am, it does this.
Everything is drawing from the juice of the I am.
The juice of I am.
Now, but the I am itself is itself the earliest extension, and this is missed. It is extended out of the unfathomable awareness being, you see. But it is in the realm of knowing, of perception. It is the earliest and the purest reflection or expression of the absolute, as material existence or as cognitive reality.
So the one who's afraid of losing anything or coming back is the believer. It's not I am.
It is the believer. But the believer cannot shine by itself any more than the moon can shine without the sun's light. The believer is taking its power from the source, from the sentience. You see? And this sense I am, the womb of all these expressions, you see, is the shopkeeper, in a sense. But the wholesaler is the absolute. The shopkeeper is the way in which is the transacting power. Out of the feeling I am, then the world of manifold forms and the interplay between them can come into existence. You see?
Yes.
Yes.
Like the door that opens either on the absolute or on the form.
This is it. This is an excellent example. This is Srina Sagadatta Maharaj's example, that the I am itself is like a door that opens one way towards the manifest world and the multitudes of beings and so on, and swings the other way into infinity.
Yes.
So as such, this door is also a phenomenon.
The door
itself that is swinging.
So I am.
Yes.
Is a phenomenon too.
Yes, in the purest sense,
Right,
because
right.
there is earlier than that, and
Yes.
that earlier than that, which is also what I call yourself, your true self, is able to be aware of the sense I am. In the most natural way, you're aware now that you are. In deep sleep, you did not have this feeling I am and any extension. Still, you were there. And you were enjoying sleep, which is only the absence of perception, the absence of identity, localized identity. Even earlier than the feeling, the most beautiful and intimate feeling of being, or the presence, or the I amness, even that was not there in the deep sleep. Still, there was enjoyment of sleep even. That occurs in the absolute.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a question. perceived world became or becomes full of light, when perception changes to miracles, when everybody is seen as me.
Yes.
Every flower, not even flower, just like even a piece of plastic is looking at me and saying, I love you, I am you. Is this the effect of sitting on the I amness or on the self?
It is still a subtle and very beautiful emanation out of the I amness itself.
Okay.
Yeah, it is that, because it is still I love you, is still a kind of separation. I am you is still a kind of duality, which is fine. It is fine. Duality is not a bad word. You know? It is still the absolute manifesting in its play. In order for there to be experience and cognition, you see, there has to be duality. There has to be a subject and object. There has to be perception. There has to be this and thatness. All of this is perfectly natural. And just that there is earlier than this also, within which this diversity is manifesting as a show. You used the word before, a theater of consciousness is arising out of the I am principle itself. So that feeling that everything is one, and there is only love, and there's no difference between a tree or a flower and myself, and so on. You see, this is also arising out of that Satchidananda state, out of the I amness itself, when it's completely unassociated,
right?
And it's in some way marinating in itself. It is not picking up the sense of other at all. You see, it is self-focused, and then it's emanating joy and peace, silence and space. You see, this is arising, and then this type of feeling may happen. Others, it can take different forms. This is one of the forms it takes. The sense that I am all of this is myself. Every form is me, not just this particular form, because it is seen that this form is just a form, and all forms are the expressions arising out of me being, myself being that consciousness. They're all expressions, emanations of consciousness. They are the concrete forms of consciousness. I am the intelligence, the sentience in them, and there's no separation. Even the stories, they are all my energy, my play. This confirmation is seen, and it is free of any kind of conceitedness or arrogance. It is actually very pure. It is just a confirmation. And but again, this sense can subside and become only space and emptiness, unbound emptiness. From I am everything to I am nothing. You see? And that I am nothing is not going to be said many times. It's only that space of emptiness in whose presence the sense of presence is also felt, floating in that.
The sense of presence
is felt. The sense of presence, the sense that I am, and this body is still there, and the memory, and even the sense of being called Laurent or MooJi or so on is still there, can still be there. But all of this is floating like clouds into the infinite expanse, the infinite sky.
And can there be a re-identification with one of those three states?
It is rare if that seeing has become very stable, confirmed. It's moved beyond just a sort of dynamic or special effects experience, and becomes your sober and consistent seeing and confirmation. Then it is very clear, and you will not fall asleep again into the ignorance of I am this person. Although the echo of the sense of a personhood may arise, the perfume come of the person sometimes. And this is sort of like natural, because in the play of existence, each body will carry the information of a certain amount of conditioning. But that conditioning will not arise with such forceful personal identification. It will just be just like you dip some cloth in some blue dye. It comes out looking blue, but the cloth is still 100% linen or whatever it is. So the conditioning can have this type of surface play, but they are not anymore deep into the psyche of the being. They're not there. There's only the sense of spaciousness, of an impersonal awareness. Perception of the world can be there, senses can be there, the sense of otherness can be there even, but they will be more light and superficial. It will be seen like even all the individualities are there, but they're sitting in a greater unicity, which is encompassing all of them.
Mm-hmm.
You see? It's not that the feeling necessarily has to be continued. All these beings are the same as me. I am them, they are me. That can change, and there must be some space allowed for that change to be seen as natural also. Mm-hmm. They may move away from becoming, I am all of this, to I am nothing. You see? And then again it arise, I am all of this. And again, I am none of this. And then gradually, neither this statement nor that statement is made. There's only the expanse of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Even the going back to some past beautiful experiences, who goes back there?
This is an optional statement. We don't have to say you go back. You can say that memory of them arising.
Memory.
Yeah, because I want to give this option, because sometimes we feel like I go back, and then you believe in this going back, which effectively means I've left my place.
Yes.
And I've become something else.
Yes.
But this is not true. Memories spontaneously will occur, and they will arise in the infinite expanse of what is.
Oh.
Infinity cannot move about to make room for the mind. This is just another silliness of the mind. The fact is that memories will come, sometimes quite unasked for, unexpectedly. Some memories come, and they appear in the expanse of that space, and they are perceived. It's not that you go back to something.
Okay.
Simply they appear in you.
Okay.
As it's always been. It's always been like this. All has just been appearing in you. But somehow we have cultivated a sort of artificial perspective of feeling that I could leave myself and become this thing, which is not a truth. It may be a potential for thinking like this, and we can believe so much in that thinking that you believe it into existence, and it becomes your experience. Because this is how the mind works, in fact.
Yes. What's more proper to say, there is a belief, or I believe?
Ultimately, it won't matter to you when you understand that, you are the self. And so even if you say, I believe, where it once used to cause trouble and confusion, now it has become something very tame. It's become a puppy, basically.
Okay.
So you can stroke that type of thought. It's not really. But if the feeling or the belief arises within me, and sometimes I am actually using statements like this to help to keep out of the trap of a habit to reform an identity with something and then suffer from that projection. I may say, this is another belief appearing in you. The potential for believing is arising in you.
Yes.
More than, yes, you're believing this. Because if there's no clarity about it, and you think because I is so intimate, that it represents what you are, and you say, I believe this, it's almost like I believe and become this.
Yes.
But if I say that this belief is arising in you, then you are clear in that statement that yourself is the greater part, and the belief is the lesser part. It can appear and disappear, and you are the witness of the appearing and the disappearing of anything.
And the identification too, if there is one.
If the identification arises, then it arises, you understand, out of a sort of habit, a tendency.
Yes.
Yeah, that a certain play arises, and the tendency to feel, I am this thing. A voice says, I am this thing. And in the past, it was quickly believed. It was fast, like a reflex. This, I am this thing. I am this. What is happening to me? I am this. Became the believed experience. And so it was not questioned. And so that belief became a sort of experience and a fact for you. Whereas now you're seeing through that's an option. If it's recognized that simply this type of sensation is occurring in me, out of habit or conditioning, But I am not that. I never was that, and never can be that, because I am the observer and the perceiver of that play.
It still doesn't register the I am, like a thought arrives, like a comment arise, and the idea I'm that, I'm not that. I mean, I'm not a comment. But
it's not that you're saying I am the comment. It's that you already feel secure and accustomed to and familiar with a position that you are the one who's going to be affected by the comment, for instance.
Yes.
And it doesn't need to be said in words. It's very subtle. But it's almost as though that's already in place and unquestioned. So any amount of comment is reporting to that position, which is not a true position, you see. The true position is that you are a positionless position. You are behind the mind.
So when I say I'm not that, I'm not talking about the comment. I'm talking about
the one
who believes,
the one who believes in yes. But not just saying that, but you are seeing and confirming that you are not that. It doesn't have to take the form of even words. It doesn't have to be a verbal expression. But whether it is or not, it is the seeing that is important. But that's not what I am. And by seeing that it's not what I am, then whatever reactions may occur, they don't become personal. They're impersonal. And so you're not in the fire. You're not in the anger. You're not in the storm.
Because there's a belief that by doing this up till now, I was using the teachings to repress something that I believed. A comment arrives, a comment that's going to criticize these flowers, you, whatever, and I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to hear this, because I believe there's an identity there, right? There's like, it defines me.
Yes.
When we say I'm not that, I'm not the one who thinks he's defined by these, right?
Yes. So if you're not the one who is affected or defined by these, then it means that the suggestion which is coming to that loses power. Because for whom is it? For whom is it?
Is it arising? Yeah.
Yes. On whom is it impacting? So all the energy that's been going to keep that show, to supply energy to that scenario, that show, that now will completely relax. Then the show is not needed.
Well, yes, and that happens many times.
Yes.
Until what? Until there's identification with the one who believes that he must protect and defend and take care of all the thoughts.
Each time it arises, if and when it does, the same attitude, the same looking, the same introspection, the same inquiry is the same light of introspection or inquiry is put on it. And each time...
To whom do these thoughts arise? Yes, I understand.
Yes. And like this, it's just like cutting back some weeds, and they keep growing, and you keep cutting, and they keep growing, they keep cutting. But each time they're cut, they're exhausting themselves, they're losing power. At a certain time, it's gone.
This is very good.
And sometimes, in the end, you can just pull it up from the root. Just pull the whole thing up. Yes. Because it gets weak from the root, even, you see.
So now, I said it's very good, because I know this place. The less important than before. That's true. The little feeling of maybe it's not gonna last. It's not gonna last. It doesn't have time for just maybe. And the turning my ear on that maybe.
I would like you to know that you don't need to be afraid of any thought.
Because that's the point.
It's not that you have to be fencing at all. You must keep out thoughts. No, you can get rid of the bodyguards. Let the thoughts happen. If they don't get, if they're not successful in getting your attention and your belief, if you merely learn to see and observe without the feeling I need to defend, just observe but without identification or attachment, then thoughts have no further power to exert. They have no power. They are only living on the phantom power of your belief, your interest and identity, without which they have they cannot register themselves in fact.
Once the bodily feeling of fear, which is always here, like a contraction, smell of a thought, smell of a comment. I don't even know what's the comment. At the level of smell, contraction.
Yes.
As soon as there's contraction, I guess there's identification or something.
What I'd like to say to you about that is it's okay for that contraction to take place. If you don't keep believing in that,
How?
Well...
Oh, you mean to the contraction?
No. The contraction is maybe a physical response.
Yeah, like a
But
what
what I'm talking about, believing in the interpretation, the believing in the explanation the mind gives.
Right.
Let it just be pure sensation, even if you understand that it's just somehow I can see the mechanism of that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But you are aware of your unassociated being, which is not saying, okay, I want this thing to go, I want this thing to go. Let it be there.
Okay, the one who says that is
Yeah.
the believer.
Yes.
Is the
false identity.
is the part of me that is associated, or it's
the false identity, yes.
false identity.
Yeah.
Now, this contraction thing, the it's like happens just a lot, because in those subtle, there's like a subtle.
Just don't try and stop it. Just be aware.
Don't stop the cutting.
No, don't try and stop it, because you, the
the
one
cutting.
who is going to try and stop it, is also, it is like an accomplice to this type of sensation, because it makes it seem like it's real. It's just a reaction that is taking place, and as a reflex, because it's happened many times before, it may still continue happening. But now, the understanding of why that happens is also present with you, and that you are not that there's not a real person suffering here. It's just an identity, a projection of who I am, is somehow responding to its fears. You need to sit with this more and more, and just not work it in your head over and over and over, but more, I would say, recognize intuitively the space in you, the non-reactionary space, the sense of the I am, which is unassociated, who is not in service to this noise of becoming, and this is happening to me. It's simply understood now that this psychosomatic presence is a construction. It understands.
Okay.
Now you see, and that entity, apparent entity, has been supplied the juice through a belief which comes from the real I, which is the feeling I am. You see, when the I am is somehow incubating in itself, meaning that it's not managing the mind field.
Yes.
It's just dwelling upon its own self. It is its own meditation.
In that emptiness, right? Because there's nothing there. Okay.
Okay. Then somehow all this manifestation of work to be done and things to change and thoughts to suppress or to get rid of, all of this will die down, and you will see that it actually works like that.
No needs to work on beliefs and stuff.
No, don't go sniping off little bits and pieces here and there. Don't go pruning the mind. Just stay only as the truth you have discovered, that all of it is reporting to that pure I amness itself, and the I amness itself, the unassociated presence, has nothing more to do than to pay attention to itself. Just to be with itself. It's not a person. It has no religion, no gender. It has no agenda. It has no future, no past. It's just that peace and space. And gradually you'll see that the tendency to describe yourself, to qualify yourself in terms of proportion and any kind of adjective descriptions about who you think you are, that this is just the bad habit of the mind. It's a severe limitation upon the pure being, which is limitless.
And here we're talking about I am.
We are using the sense I am quite excessively in a sense. Yes, the feeling of being, which is the space you are now perceiving fairly smoothly. The energy and vibration of the peace and that joy, which is really somehow melting the agitated current of the mind in this ocean of more silence and space and peace. You may call that the space and peace of the being, or of the self, or the reality, or of the I am. Don't be here splitting about it. You are out of the mind field. And this is not a mood that is coming in from somewhere else. It is the underlying vibration of being. It is what is here. And if you don't go up into the attic, into the mind, energy, meaning that dwell in that realm, then you will gradually become able to use the mind for different functions, but it's not going to be given so much energy to create a kind of psychological identity anymore. It's simply okay for practical functioning and for memory and other things like this, but it will not be mischievous.
There is even a melting away of the frantic of questionings too.
Yes,
of
course.
Wanting to understand and all that.
They are all connected with that mental wave. So everything is subsiding together, you see. This is why I say you don't have to prune the tree by leaf. You've gone to the root, everything will go, everything comes, the whole tree falls, you see. It doesn't fall one leaf here, one flower, one fruit, everything is falling.
There's a temptation of saying, yes, but this and that problem, but that dies, yes?
Yes. That's sort of floating off more in the distance. Something is cutting the umbilical cord to the mind.
The wanting to subside as that feeling.
The wanting to subside need not be there. It's just happening by itself.
Oh, what do you mean?
Somehow your attention is dwelling inside the heart, somehow. And so the need to want to be in the heart, to want to do something,
yes,
is just a habit of the mind. It is happening now, just because you are, your energy is not rising up to follow and chase the mind. It is just resting in the sense of being, which is its natural home.
It doesn't need to want this.
No, it doesn't want. The feeling of want was arising in the mind, and it was somehow connecting up with the energy of being, and there was a belief in that, and so that created all this, that kind of noise. Now, having looked and understood the correct position of the self in respect to the projections, you abide your attention inside the self, and like this, you see, everything becomes quiet. And the mind itself actually loves being here. It just fights against it initially because it's accustomed to being outside into the playground. So initially there's some resistance, but sooner or later it enjoys, because the nature of the mind is peace, actually.
Yes.
It enjoys to be here.
Yes. And wonderful realizations as well, like what I spoke to you earlier, the experience of truly dwelling into all is one and everything is me. That with the mind open, like the door open, wow! I mean, I got very impressed with the brilliance of it's understanding. It's like super clarity on everything.
Yes.
And the transformation of perception.
Yes.
Like this thing is green, and then it becomes not blue, but it becomes like, wow, this is amazing. I got maybe a little too impressed with this as effect. What would you say?
It's natural that when there's a change from the whole rulership from the whole, from the whole emperor, basically, which is the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And one begins to feel the immensity of the space of self, then you may begin to experience some unusual phenomenal manifestations also.
Yeah.
But and they can be a joy to perceive and to be there.
Yes.
But don't cling to any of them.
Cling to any of them.
Yes, yeah. Let them just float on by. It's okay. It's okay. The greater seeing is to be where you are, in the seat of your own self.
Oh, what came after this? What came was that whole specialness, that whole belief that I'm the Messiah. This is the thing that came. And I'm happy to speak about this like that because I'm not too attached to it. I can say, okay, well, there's a lot of miracles happening, people are healing around me and stuff, and okay, this is, and that little by little, like stuff. Because who's saying this?
Largely the mind is saying it.
And the feeling, much less than before. It's true. So maybe it's not even helpful to talk about this, but you'll tell me. When I said that story about the Messiah, about the big special, the new Jesus and all this, I said in somehow a pretty detached way, and I was happy to see that. The slight and subtle uncertainty, feeling a wave of doubt, like what he's going to think, that much less than before, but still here. That brings automatically a in the stomach, like a cutting of breath. Attention, tension, be careful, cautious. Less than before, it's true.
Yes.
So the answer is that this is less than before because it doesn't matter.
I think it depends on who you say this type of thing to, because if someone is very much unsure and uncomfortable about what you're speaking, they'll put up some sort of resistance, and then you will probably feel
I feel this.
Like, whoa, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have said that or something.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
But now we're speaking in a space where this is what you express. It's not uncommon feeling for many people going through these phases and stages to experience.
Right.
And so, for me, it's fine, because you will almost certainly feel from a very common kind of life, one sees that, but wait, there's an extraordinary power and vitality and aliveness emerging here, and there are, spontaneously miraculous events are taking place.
Yes.
And these are messianic symbols and signs. And you think, oh my God, whoa, maybe this is, it's making its way into this body, and I am that, And it's just that sometimes, the ego is not completely gone, completely. It's had a good hiding.
Right.
But it's still hiding a little bit somehow.
So
that feeling is there for a bit, and I wouldn't feel too ashamed of that. It's just a feeling that happens along the way, and then one sees that one is not so special actually. That there are other so-called special people with special, maybe even bigger stories or something like that. But this is not it. That's the point. Is that the feeling of being chosen and all of this is a natural feeling to happen.
Yes.
And in a way you're chosen by your own self to wake up from a deep sleep. And sometimes, in some cases, we move from ego to superego, in a sense. True. If you start to believe too much in this type of things for a bit, and that's also something that you will go past. You will surpass.
But I will look at now. Is it helpful to go into that's what I believed, or to go check who's the believer of this?
If it is still got some charge, some substance to it, you can look into it, but don't go on a mission about it. Higher than that is just to stay as the self.
Right.
Don't go on excursions to try and shoot the mind or something.
Yes.
Just stay as the self. Stay as you are. As you are. And these kind of like energies, they will relax and merge with the supreme consciousness.
Yes, they will.
and they are doing that. It's just something that is a part of the phenomenal transition.
Yes.
Because there is a changing over of power and authority from the kind of person to presence.
Right.
And then gradually even the presence itself relaxes into the infinite being.
The idea of what you just mentioned earlier, I'm very happy because it's true. I didn't get vibrationally when I said that, some judgment, and you would have, but that happens a lot.
I think I feel
I'm not saying that to everybody. I'm like the Messiah and stuff.
No.
Anything,
and you don't need to do this. And in fact, what happens is it's good that you have somebody to talk to about these things, because, I mean, in that experience, one feels convinced about it,
and then doesn't want to be convinced and repress it.
In that moment, what can happen is that you start to speak to people, and they'll push it down. And that pushing it down can be helpful, because maybe it just makes you a bit more humble, and make you realize, whoa, it's not everybody that buys that stuff, It's there's some people think, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? It's okay, whatever happens, because really, this is really the reason why there were masters, teachers, gurus, or whatever, authentic ones, was to be able to speak out these things, which we cannot bring to Mr. Joe public, because they won't understand it, and they just think you're a complete loony or something.
Yeah.
And in some cases we are just complete loonies, But there's a time when you want to speak this out, you want to share, you want to have some feedback, you want someone to kind of confirm, to help you to confirm, and to check in with. You see, this is important, and this is a true relationship that one would have ordinarily with your own master or teacher or so.
That's exactly
you can somehow
a space of no judgment,
yes.
I can come with a fear, but then it won't catch into the other person's fear, and I will too.
Yes. But also have the stomach to go even beyond that. That even if you come into reactions from people, be aware of that inside your own self, but don't let it, not that you need to continue to talk with them further, because maybe that's enough. Maybe that it means from them in that moment, they don't want to go further with you. They can't go further than that with you, because they've hit a boundary in themselves or something, you see, a kind of judgment.
But I suffer from this, here it hurts.
Yes.
And then I develop a hate of that fear, and that becomes. You remember yesterday I told you I came up with hate, because then something that I observed automatically when there's fear or whatever it is, or not liking that, there's a projection, and then perception.
It sometimes comes because we really, whether we like to think of this or not, we expect something from the world. We want something from people.
Yeah.
We want that they accept you, that they
or
understand
recognition
you,
or something. Yes.
or something like this, you see. And when it happens, it's fine. I have myself learned out of my own experience not to take what people say too deeply. Whether when they say something beautiful, like, whoa, meeting you has changed my life, and this type of stuff, I don't let it go anywhere inside myself at all. And then if they say, oh, this guy is completely lunatic, he's, and they say, terrible things sometimes. And it hurts a little bit, because I know it's not true. But then you say, it's the world. Sometimes you will meet people who dislike you for no reason at all.
Yes.
But you have to find it. Actually, it's sometimes I find it's helpful, because there's a saying that it's not good to bite, but it is good to be bitten. Because in some way, if you don't go into self-loathing or self-pity, then you'll find, wait a minute, I'm growing strong out of this.
I'm going into. Who's speaking when I say that? Is it the I am who's speaking?
Yes, you're speaking the I am. You see, the way conversations work, they either float from the vicinity of being the person, or it's moving again into presence.
Okay.
You waver between these two.
Yes.
Sometimes a bit too much into the I am the body mind experience, then your words become more personal. They become more having that personal flavor.
Right.
And then as clarity comes and the seeing is deeper, you're coming deeper, then you're speaking really as consciousness. You may not even be aware that you're speaking as consciousness, you see.
But can I maybe now look at this and be aware of it and say, oh.
No, the only thing to do is to keep remembering I am that. keep seeing and confirming, but I am that. Because something wants to start a few steps out into I am the person, because that's what we've been doing for so many years. But with this seeing, you're recognizing, but wait a minute, but even that is phenomenal. This is where your really active seeing is taking place, this checking in and seeing that, but wait, but even the sense of me who wants to do something that's just a kind of construct, softly looking at that. And each time that seeing arises, a greater space opens up underneath it, and you see that, wait a minute, but I'm here, you see? And the more accustomed, soberly you are to seeing this, the more you find that to go back into the field of limitation becomes more and more difficult, more distance. And then when you go into this very limited space, you start to feel a bit nausea very quickly. And yes, like yes. But this is your secret Zen stick. It keeps you out of the trap of the personal mind. You see. And I'm very happy to be able to go into it so refinedly, actually, to talk like this. Because, but that is to do also with your capacity to keep looking.
I know.
Because I don't find
when I say I know it, it's coming from.
Is like this, because it happens together. If you're not able to keep outgrowing yourself, we wouldn't go so deeply. And it's been it's good. It's good to look in this way, because a lot of noise gets burnt in the seeing, you see. So.
The seeing, and in the, I believe that maybe to round up the solution is this. It's like I am.
Yes.
I unassociated I, or
yes.
I am.
Yeah. One thing I would want you to continue to do is to this kind of this feeling, which is a sort of a kind of sensitivity to maybe the fear of rejection or something, or judgment and so on.
Yes.
To bring that into your inquiry. You see,
like
well, you can begin by looking, and you see that okay, there's great more sensitivity around this type of feeling. If somebody goes, "Oh, what are you talking about?" Whatever it is, then it's like a piercing in your solar plexus or something. Then don't try and resist the feeling. Let the feeling be there, but use the feeling to locate the one who suffers it.
Use the feeling. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
To locate the one who suffers it.
Yeah. Just say, okay, who is hurt by this, and be very quiet with this question. Don't allow the quick answers from the mind. Don't take them. Just stay with the question. You see. Sometimes when you question like this, you may find
register a lot. But
okay. In the beginning, it doesn't register a lot, and sometimes what will happen is that you can't even hold the question in any sort of like focus, because there's a lot of resistance around this, the really clear seeing, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I ask people to write the question down, because the mind is going to go into blur, and it's going to go into seizure and all this type of stuff, and it's going to start to say, well, it's a ridiculous question. It's not, this question doesn't touch me, and all this. It's all part of the defense mechanism of that sort of latent identity, which is avoiding detection. So, it's just that, just to keep quiet, let the feeling, don't resist the feeling or be trying to get distracted from let the feeling be there, feel it fully.
You mean the feeling of awfulness, right?
Yes, let that feeling be there, okay? Really be willing to face it, but also to say, okay, but who suffers it? Just, there's no cynicism about the question, there's no presumption about the question, just a quiet question, like you're making this question for the first time, to try and find out where the impact of the question, who suffers it,
And when I come, so it's not the same as coming up with it's obviously not me.
No, that's an assumption. I want everything that you see to be clean and authoritative, meaning that you really have seen that.
Right.
You see? It's not a whole heap of thing. You're not going into a bag of nuts or something. You're just looking and really, because there's an assumption here. It's me. It's like it's me, and I can't stand this. This is too much. And why do people have to, and all this noise? So just use the feeling of hurt or sharp pain. Let it be there, and just let it be there. That's already a great position.
It is.
Stance. Just to say, look, it's okay. Let it be there. And you can feel its vibration in the body. You can feel it, trembling or burning or rage coming up. But let it be there. Don't try and change it for another feeling or something. And if there is a noise from the mind, which is like, I can't take this. This is too much or whatever. Also, just be aware of that. And find out who is saying this, who is resisting, who is on fire here, who is burning, who is finding this so impossible. And just keep quiet. And concentrate to see if you can locate, not create, not invent, but locate if there's any entity who really suffers.
Like, who's the I is the same question? Who's the I that suffers? Or?
Yes, or who is the one? Who is it? Is the same question. And be with that. And what you will find is, as you turn the attention, keep the attention alert, but don't get too mental about it, because this is really a discovery mode at the moment. You're looking, you're seeing if, like this. Mm-hmm. And what will happen is that the interned attention to try and find out who is the sufferer here, already you're going to find that in the beginning, sometimes a lot of noise come up in the mind.
Or just blur, like what
blur.
Does it mean?
You're like, yes.
Like I'm retarded.
But don't get entangled in that. Be aware of that energy. That's also part of the energy of the pain. But don't fade off with it.
Yes,
stay with that, and just be aware of that. Hold the question, or just keep quiet with that question. Hold that question. And at some point, after the noise, the waves of noise, and most people will sort of like give up. But you stay with it. And what tends to happen at some point, what you will see is that everything bursts and falls apart, and there's only this sort of space and silence.
Yeah.
And this space is there, and then there can be a feeling of, oh wow, that is fantastic. That's okay, but don't identify even with that.
With the feeling of it's gone.
With the relief, yeah.
With the relief. Don't identify with the relief.
No, don't push it away. Experience it. It's part of the joy and the the success of your inquiry, but your inquiry is not finished. Mm. Just keep quiet and just, it's okay, now joy is there. Just be here. Now, who is also feeling this relief? Just check quietly. Don't invent. Don't be in a hurry to supply an answer to yourself or from the mind. Just stay with this question softly, and gradually you'll find that all the energy is exhausted. There's only silence and space.
Is it a way of going back to I am?
You don't have to bother with that. There's only the silence and space.
Okay.
That I am is the feeling of presence. But don't tie any string to it. Just be fresh in your discovery. And there will also sometimes be a fresh kind of feeling of confidence that, I don't have to back away from this type of experience even. Mm-hmm. Each time it comes, you just sit quietly for a bit and just bring it into the inquiry. Don't be afraid. Don't push these feelings away. Don't jump on them and start to build up the judgments and so on. Just let it come. And if you allow these feelings without saying that they have no right to be, there's no space in me for this type of thing, don't bother with that. Just let it just be there and say, okay, fine, let's see who suffers this. Because the reflex answer, the usual answer is, well, it's me. I mean, it's a bit of a foolish question almost. It can feel like that. But go through those stages, and what is this me who is suffering, you see? Where is it? Where is this me?
Where is it?
Yes. Let me see it suffering. I want to see the me suffering. If there is a suffering, where is the sufferer? Look. And stay with it. And some changes, because in the light of this type of questioning, some very dynamic movements might happen inside you. But you're only to observe. But don't interfere with them. And don't be quick to interpret.
Yes.
Or to purchase any result. Just be quiet within yourself.
But then who's interpreting? Is it the mind that comes up with interpreting?
The mind will interpret, no? That's what it's been doing. It has been really prematurely getting into position, suggesting some answers, and you, the being, have been purchasing those answers.
So I can't really stop the mind from doing what it does, right?
No, what happens is that not directly, indirectly you will, because by abiding as the self, staying as the self, the mind will naturally drop off. Its power will drop off by itself. You don't have to go and try and shoot the mind, because the mind grows strong with this type of intention. Simply you stay only as yourself, and that type of energy that exaggerates mind's powers, that will just subside into the heart. Everything is going to subside into the heart.